Welcome back to Pigskin Politics Season 2. We upgraded our equipment. In fact, we just made a video and kind of erased it, so...
It was an incredibly unfortunate event of where we just did a 20-minute video and it just decided to erase itself. So
let's just do it again.
Number 2. I guess we'll do it again.
All right, so hasn't been a lot to talk about football-wise. I don't really care that much about the draft or to make videos, but hey, now we got some stories we can talk about again.
The whole Corona thing kind of made the NFL a little hard to talk about recently, but
yeah, God, that sucks.
But
if we feel a little bit out of it, it's just we just lost what was a good take. So
anyway, what we wanted to talk about is the other day I was on Facebook and I saw Good Morning Football talking about how the Steelers are the biggest threat to the Chiefs and the Ravens, and the day before I saw something that Jason Lockenfora said the same thing. I don't understand this hype about the Steelers. For one, where did the Steelers really upgrade over the offseason?
Well, let's see. They had a virtually non-existent draft. They traded their first overall pick to Miami. So they picked up with their second round a wide receiver who might be turned into a tight end. So he was a fine receiver. But
I know. So their draft, they got a glorified tight end.
Yeah.
And then their free agency, their splashy pick was Eric Ebron, who's just an average tight end, I'd say.
He's a pretty good tight end. I'd say he's top 10, but like the top notch of tight ends like Kelsey, Olsen, Gronkowski, they immediately change a team, whereas Ebron's just kind of, he's fine. He's there. He's serviceable. He'll do what you need to. Better than no one.
But does that really put them over the top? Because I didn't see any offensive move that they made that puts their offense over the top. Well, whereas every team in that division got better. I don't think they got better. Like the Browns, they upgraded their O-line. That was their weakness last year.
Yeah.
They upgraded their coaching staff, which we all know the Browns have an incredibly talented roster. They just can't put it together. But Stefanski is actually, he might put it together.
Hopefully,
we'll see.
If anyone can.
The Bengals, I mean, they at least got their quarterback. They got T. Higgins. They got A.J. Green coming back. They got their left tackle coming back that got injured before the season even started last year. They have Joe Mixon. They might, I don't think they'll be good, but they might win 5 or 6 games.
They'll be improved.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
And then the Ravens, they shored up their defensive front. That was their weakness last year.
Good linebacker.
Every single team in that division got better except the Steelers. I don't think Ben Roethlisberger coming back from a blown-out elbow is an upgrade over Mason Rudolph.
Realistically speaking, no. I mean, you looked up quarterbacks, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks who had that injury before, have you not?
I did. The only one I could really relate to was Joe Montana, who had the exact same injury.
Okay.
And he said with his experience, when he came back from surgery and came back to play, that he had trouble feeling his pinky finger and his ring finger radiated down his arm, and it made it hard for him to grip the football. So I have no way of seeing how this couldn't affect his accuracy and his throw power.
Well, did Montana ever win a Super Bowl again?
He did not.
Oh. It's almost like it's kind of a death sentence.
But seriously, like, just think back to your childhood. If you ever had, like, a serious injury, like, I broke my collarbone probably 10 years ago, and shit, if I fall asleep wrong, I still feel it. I tore a ligament in my foot 4 years ago. If it gets cold, I could still feel it.
Yeah, you know, you're saying you're never the same after that.
You're never the same. It's especially, like, if that were, like, someone like Lamar Jackson and he tore his ACL, you'd be like, oh, he's never the same, which it's probably true. So why would it be different for a quarterback when you're throwing with that arm?
I'm kind of right there with you. I think the hype on the Steelers is a bit weird, but especially because are we just ignoring the fact that Big Ben has been on the downturn for the last couple of years?
Absolutely, dude.
Like, remember, the Steelers were 7-1 2 years ago, and then they fell flat on their faces to miss the playoffs outright. The big thing about that led to that collapse, you could argue, was the drama, but Big Ben was making some very poor decisions.
He lost that Broncos game.
Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, it came down to him just making bad choices. That is a pro quarterback, a Super Bowl MVP quarterback being a moron. And now, you know, people are happy he's coming back. Like, oh, that's why the Steelers didn't do too great last year. I mean, he got his ass whooped by the Pats in week 1, and then they were losing outright to the Seahawks. people try to tell me, oh, Big Ben 101. No, Seahawks were controlling that game. I think the Steelers had the lead one time, but then the Seahawks just maintained control. Big Ben coming back, I get it. He's a proven commodity, but
he's another year older, coming off a bum injury to his elbow, and they don't even have that good of a run game. Do you expect him to just throw his way back in when I expect his elbow to be bothering him when it gets cold? No. Just Juju, who wasn't very good last year, and to just Chase Claypool, they don't have a run game.
Right. We knew, and we said, I like Juju. His stats weren't terrible last year, but we knew he needed a number one receiver. He wasn't going to make that next step without it.
Our prediction was correct about that, specifically about that, and that's exactly what happened.
And it's now happening again. Only I don't get it, considering their draft was kind of weak. Big Ben's coming back. Ooh, I don't really see how that's going to save the day.
They should have drafted a quarterback. Or at least, if I were the Steelers, I'd probably get rid of Ben this year and probably try to trade for Aaron Rodgers, maybe. That might help.
That's a cool idea.
Another thing is, when an NFL team, their defense leads the league in turnovers, they don't ever do it the next year again. Mm-hmm. They led the league in turnovers. The year before, the Dolphins did that. The year before that, the Ravens did that.
And the team never repeats twice.
No, they might be still a top 10 defense, but you can't not just look at the fact that a lot of those turnovers are luck.
And you're saying effectively that their defense made them a contender last year, so there's no guarantee they'll do it again. Like,
it didn't even make them a contender, man. The refs put them in some of those freaking games,
right.
I swear.
So even though they have an easier schedule this year, arguably, like playing against the weak NFC East or maybe the could-be bad Bengals and Browns, I wouldn't even say they're likely to make the playoffs this year. Like, outright.
Dude, I bet you the Browns sweep them. I wouldn't even doubt it. The Browns actually look like they could be pretty good this year.
So the Steelers are the biggest threat to the Chiefs, huh? I think that's asinine.
No. If there's the biggest threat to the Ravens and the Chiefs, I would say it was probably going to be a team we don't expect. Like maybe the Colts are somehow really good, or maybe the Dolphins. No, not really.
But, we'll see.
But you know what I mean? It's probably going to be something like maybe the Titans or
something that's hard to pick. Whereas, because the Steelers, I just don't see why, again, they're getting this hype. Like, guys, we just covered this last year. I was considered to be a jerk for saying they'd missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, and guys,
it might be 3 years in a row, but now with the new CBA allowing them 7 playoff teams, I feel like that rule was made just to get the Cowboys and the Steelers into the playoffs because they've been right on the brink of getting in.
I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers miss the playoffs. That being said, with the easier schedule, they'll probably be the 7th seed. Like, guys, they're not these world beaters. We shouldn't fear them, all right? I think they'll be fine, but I don't think they'll be good.
Yeah.
Again, we addressed this last year, guys. Like, bruh, get off the Steeler train.
Last year, what spiked this conversation was people were saying, not everyone, but certain people were saying that the Steelers would be better without Antonio Brown and without Le'Veon Bell.
Well, you didn't get better without Big Ben.
You didn't get better without AB. I don't see how you miss a talent that's that good and get better, especially with just Juju and now a rookie wide receiver that might play tight end who might have snaps taken away by Eric Ebron. What am I missing here?
Effectively, you're not seeing what makes them the world beater because on paper they aren't. They didn't really improve. But that leads me to my next thing. Let's talk about another team who's again getting hype, who again we talked about last year. And guys, it's the Jets. People are like, wow, look at how the Jets finished. They went 6-8, won 6 of their last 8. They're going to be good now. Again, no, guys, we already addressed this last year. The big thing about the Jets is Adam fucking Gase. The dumbest coach I've ever seen. I know firsthand. So let's talk about how in our last video we touched on offensive mastermind, right? 2016, he averaged 21 points. 2017, he averaged 16 points. 2018, he averaged 17 points. So again, this year, you plug that in. You take away the defensive scores. His defense scored 44 points this year. So you add them up for the games, he averaged 14 and a half points offensively.
It's not very good.
That's pathetic.
Okay, just answer this. How many winning teams did the Jets beat this year?
Well, they played 6.
How many did they beat?
They beat the Bills in Week 17, who were already locked into their playoff spot.
So what you're saying is they didn't do anything impressive.
No. In
With
fact,
or without Sam Darnold, in fact.
Right, because a big reason people are saying they're going to be good. Like, oh, he had mono last year. He's going to come back. Guys, we saw what he was when he was in. Let's not just ignore the fact that Week 1 against the Bills, their defense scored 8 points, and so you lost 17-16.
Yeah.
Darnold scored 8 points. Remember, the ghost game, he was back when they got demolished by the Pats.
That
what was
was
it?
such a bad game,
to
man.
nothing?
That wasn't even worth watching.
It was pathetic. Darnold didn't miss that many games. You could blame it on mono. I get it, but...
Nah, Colin Cowherd's the only one that was using the mono excuse, but is it really a good excuse because they weren't good with Darnold in there?
No.
I mean, Darnold's not bad.
No, I think he's fine. It's what Darnold has to work with, and what he has, unfortunately, is Adam Gase. Darnold could be better. I don't see him doing it this year. But again, people are like, oh, they won 6 of their last 8. Like, guys, they beat the Giants, the Skins, and the Dolphins in that time. And they should have lost the Dolphins. That came down to refereeing. So you went 5-8. Never mind, Sam Darnold lost to the frickin' Bengals.
The really, really
the
worst
0-11
team.
Bengals. Like, guys,
he did do
what
that.
the hell?
A Bengals that had the worst defense statistically and
they held them
probably
to
the
6
worst
points.
offense, too.
Held them to 6 points. Guys, like, yeah, the Jets beat the Steelers. They beat the Bills. Again, scoring almost nothing on points. I actually like how the Jets drafted. I think they were smart. But I don't like who they're picking up. Adam Gase has an affinity for players he's already worked with in the past. He did it for the Dolphins, where he picked up a lot of ex-Bear and Bronco players that didn't really make sense. I see him doing it again, where he picked up Frank Gore to complement Le'Veon Bell. And you could have one or the other. You don't need both. They're just not going to get along, if you ask me.
He's picking up a bunch of ex-Ravens for some freaking reason. They have like 15 Ravens on their team right now. Ex-Ravens. They just picked up Joe Flacco like yesterday, and I don't know why. I mean, they're just like, Adam Gase is just like, hey, here's some candy, kids. Just get out. You know, I don't know why, but just give the Ravens Jamal Adams. Come on, guys.
What's funny is last year people were saying the Jets were going to turn around because they had Gase, and we just bombasted that move. And now it's being viewed like, okay, Gase is now on the hot seat. Well, guess what, guys? He's not going to get off. He's just not a smart coach. He's not offensively masterminded, as evidenced by scoring 14 points.
We saw what happened to that Dolphins locker room when he was in charge, and people were like demanding to be traded if he wasn't fired.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing with the Jets.
Yeah, he's
exact same thing.
He's a cancer. He takes them down from the inside, and then when your good players aren't happy, he trades them away to punish them. Like, good job, you gave Ajayi a Super Bowl ring. Good job, man.
That did happen. They traded him to Super Bowl champions.
It's just, I don't get the faith in them again. Don't get me wrong. At least the Jets drafted smarter. But remember, this offense was the worst in the league last year, and they didn't even have the worst rated O-line. That was the Dolphins. And the Dolphins finished better offensively than the Jets. And mind you, our best running back was our quarterback. Like, the Jets are a dumpster fire. They literally just tanked their draft choices by winning a bunch of meaningless games.
I mean, they picked like 10th overall. They weren't that much lower, but
still,
picking higher is better.
The point I'm making is, oh yeah, they won 6 of their 8 last games, but who god dang cares, man? Like, that didn't help them at all. It was just for making Gase feel better about his team. All I'm saying is, yeah, the Jets could be improved. I just don't see them doing it. Like, they drafted smart, but Gase is the problem. As long as he's there, the Jets will not improve. So on that note, as a Dolphins fan, I kind of hope he sticks with them for like 10 more years.
Unless he gets fired and the Patriots pick him up and the Patriots decide to, let him be GM and just start firing people for losing a game.
That'd be amazing.
Like, yep, Sony Michel, Stephon Gilmore, you're out. You're going to the Giants.
Yeah.
Or something like that,
I mean, honestly, so this is the bruh edition. Like, guys, we addressed on this last year. The Jets and the Steelers were overrated, and now they're back. to being overrated.
Specifically the Steelers, when I don't understand it, dude.
It's infuriating. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get the Steelers and the Jets. They're both large market teams. I get they have a lot of fiercely loyal fan bases.
They're popular.
I think what it is that they're being catered to. No one wants to say that they'll be bad, but guess what? I'll do it. And granted, I'm a Dolphins fan. He's a Ravens fan. This is going to fall on a lot of deaf ears for ripping on the Steelers and Jets. But guys, we were right last year. And on paper, I don't see enough fixed to change these teams.
No, I don't think the Steelers improve like at all. Like they're basically the exact same team. It's just now they have a quarterback with a bum elbow.
Yeah. And hell, they had more talent than the Jets, if you ask me. It's just...
Not on offense, dude. Their offense is pretty bad. They're basically the Patriots without a run game.
Yeah. It's... Guys, you're making excuses for these teams because they have those rabid fan bases. I think that's just dishonest journalism. Like, don't get me wrong. We could be wrong. They could turn it around. I'll give that like a 5% chance. Just something I cannot possibly predict. Like maybe, I don't know, on an away team flying in, the plane crashes. Like, that's the only way I see them winning a lot of their games.
The only thing that would save the Steelers would just be an easy schedule. But like I said, the entire AFC North but them has improved, so it's not an easy schedule. I mean, maybe the NFC East is really bad again, but who knows? Because the Cowboys do this thing where they have like a good year and a bad year, good year and a bad year.
Yeah.
Last year was their bad year, so they should be good this year.
Well, the Cowboys were 8-8, so that means they should be 8-8 again, honestly.
But I mean, Mike McCarthy, whatever. That's a different story.
Different story, different day. All I'm saying is, guys, we went over this last year, and honestly, I don't really hate the Jets. I kind of like you guys. You give us a lot of wins every other year. It's just, stop getting your hopes up. Like, Jets fans are going to just call us haters. Steelers going to call us haters. And then you can get better. They're going to call us haters, but this isn't for them. This is for the other fans of other teams who actually has some football acumen, guys. Take the under on those teams.
Yep.
We settled this last year. We were right. Don't get on those bandwagons. Just come on, guys.
At least they're not big bandwagons, but when I see that on like Good Morning Football or like a pro analyst talking about how good they are, I'm like, come on,
it's annoying.
What did they do to like be glorious in your eyes? Because the Steelers' offense isn't good.
The Jets' offense isn't good either.
So have fun with that.
Regardless, those teams ain't going to turn around. But on a positive note, Big Skin Politics, I guess we're on season 2. We got other videos we want to make, but yeah, bruh. Jets, Steelers,
Get off their dick, bruh.
Just
don't get it.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Bye.